Hey guys.
What's
going on? Welcome to another episode of Love Does Cost
You
a Thing.
already know. My name is Jordan.
And I'm Juanita.
And welcome back to another episode. Real quick, you already know we got to give a special shout out to our sponsor.
Yes.
The one and only.
Yeah.
Unashamed Apparel. You can get your Unashamed Apparel right there at shopunashamed.com.
Yeah.
Use the code LDCAT for a 10% discount on your entire order. Let's get into it today. What we talking about, Juanita?
Yeah, I just feel so bad because every time we get to this part,
Watch
I'm
your
like,
toes.
wow, it's just like
Brace
another one.
yourselves.
I guess we're just graced for
You know what? It's
having
crazy
tough
because,
conversations.
like, we really want to see people have healthy relationships.
Yeah.
And like, this is what it requires, man. You gotta do the hard work.
Yeah. So today we are going to be debunking the myth of
Here we go.
Jealousy. If my partner is jealous, that means
they love me. What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're gonna have to deliver y'all from that.
How do we get to that point?
I think it's definitely rooted in societal norms, like the culture of society, like, the picture that society paints as far as like a spouse being there, protecting you, mad because that person looking at you, trying to beat that person up because they trying to get at you. And what does it bring? It brings a sense of security, right? Like a sense of like, it's like flattery, right? It's like, oh, you're willing to like fight for me.
Feel good.
Yeah, right. But really what it's rooted in is in that little child that nobody fought for.
Ooh. Whoa. That was
right?
A sharp left turn right there.
Because ultimately that's what you're trying to fulfill. That is what you're trying. That's what you get out of your partner being jealous. You're thinking about that one time when someone did not fight for you and now you're looking for that.
It gives you that sense of affirmation.
Yeah, security.
That sense of identity.
But it's false. Like it's a false sense of identity. Like it paints the picture that it's going to be some type of security, but it's not true.
Why is it
because first of all, that's weird if you think that your partner being jealous for you loves you. Not that you are weird, but this idea that jealousy is not healthy.
Yeah, how does it equate to, like, for you guys that maybe think this way, maybe you won't admit it, just watch this in your own private time, okay?
It's another one of those subconscious things.
How does it equate to in their minds? Maybe, I've never been like that, not implying that you have, but like, why may someone make that connection in their mind?
Because it's like, if someone again fights for me, that means they love me. Like it's this level of like you're proving yourself for me. Like you're willing to do whatever it takes to show that you care enough about me, that you got my back, that you're gonna handle anything that comes my way.
Even if it is brandishing a pistol at someone who looked at your girl.
Right. Which is what we're talking about today. It's not inherently a problem that your spouse wants to fight for you or to have your back or wants to advocate on your behalf. We're just saying we want it to be in a healthy way.
Yeah. Can we define, let's put some parameters around jealousy. Like, what do we mean?
So when you really think about jealousy, you think about this like bubbling like anger, bubbling insecurity, bubbling control. Like people don't think that jealousy is like a control thing, but it is.
It is.
It's rooted in insecurity.
Yeah, and it's also manipulation too.
Yeah, and it's a lack of trust ultimately. Like, because it's not you saying, oh, I love you this much, I'm going to fight for you. It's I'm scared you're going to leave me, so I'm going to do whatever I need to take so that you don't leave me.
I'm not even going to talk. I'm not even going to talk.
Which is a red flag, right? Like, that's why
Why is it a red flag?
Because you don't want anybody who's willing to do anything to stay with you.
To keep you.
That's dangerous.
To make you stay.
Because when someone does that, they have no limits.
Yeah. Because
you think to yourself, oh, they're only willing to do that to that person, right? They're willing to fight for me regarding that situation. But if they're desperate enough to do that situation, they're desperate enough to do anything.
Yeah. What came to mind, and I'm processing out loud while I'm saying this. When Juanita made that comment, it made me think about how love is a choice, and that's why it is so powerful, because I choose Juanita and Juanita chooses me. If there is another love interest, right, I choose Juanita and she chooses that person, or Juanita chooses me and I choose another love interest, right, that jealousy is not going to fix the problem. They have to choose you at the end of the day. If someone is pursuing me, right, but I'm choosing you. It don't matter what they do.
Right. But that's why jealousy is irrational.
My point.
Right. Because it's like, I'm going to control you. Yeah. Instead of just trusting you enough to make a good decision.
Exactly.
And Jordan and I, we say it all the time when we talk with couples that we're counseling, this idea that like temptation is always going to be there.
Always.
Right? Like you have to be the one to have the self-control. So like I'm going to run myself crazy trying to protect Jordan from any and every girl walking by. Like, it's not something that you can evade. Like, you can't walk outside with your eyes closed. Like, there are going to be things that are going to present itself to you. And Jordan's idea of free will and to be able to choose something, in those moments, you have to make that choice. You have to say to yourself, like, I choose my spouse over those things. You have to have self-control.
Yeah, it's a continual choice. And that's why the Bible talks about two becoming one. Yeah. It's a daily choice. There's always going to end, and maybe like the example of another person is, you may think it's extreme, but like maybe it's the choice in how you manage your finances or whatever. You can make it applicable to yourself, like whatever decision y'all have to make that honors each other. Right. But in this context of jealousy, like we live in a fallen world. We live in a world where these things can happen. There's a potential for it. And so that's why the covenant of marriage is so powerful, because it is a perpetual choice. I choose her, she chooses me. And so until you can get to that point, that jealousy thing is going to always be a rift. You won't have the security that you think you have. Yeah. You won't. Yeah. I mean, it just goes back to what we were saying. It's a false sense of security. Yeah. It's not one that is going to last. And that's the facade that it presents, is this idea that it actually is something that is going to bring longevity. And it's really just like a lie, right? It's a trick. It's deceiving. And so this idea of jealousy, I would say, if you are one of those, whether it's you or your spouse struggling with this idea of jealousy, like there's something that really boils on the inside of you when you see things or you experience things or you're thinking about things that could potentially happen. I would just say, hey, listen, identify that thing that's on the inside of you. Why is it that you feel so jealous? Why is it that you feel so strongly about that? And start to do the self-work to heal that part. And that's going to help you to trust your partner. Because at the end of the day, unless your partner has proven that, that they maybe have broken your trust, like you should give them the benefit of the doubt. Like you shouldn't just assume that they're out here doing whatever, especially if that is something that happened in your past. That's your responsibility to work on, and your responsibility to change and to grow and to heal, not your partner's. Yeah, so let's talk about what a true sense of security may look like. Yeah. And I'll ask you, like, sure, when did you know or feel secure with me? Maybe it was many, many moons ago, but like, just think about like when you felt, okay, this is a safe place with Jordan. What did that look like for you? I think for me, it was more a lot of like the self-work. I've experienced some things in my past, whether like growing up or relationally, that made it difficult to trust, that people would say certain things and they wouldn't keep their word. And so I would just say it was never inherently Jordan, but always a pursuit within myself. Like, and I felt like when I was secure in myself, to be able to say, okay, here's the reason why this bothers me so bad. Now it's no longer from like this emotional, like, oh my God, the world is ending place. It's more so of like, hey, I didn't like that. Can we talk about that? That made me feel this way. And then my partner has the right to justify, oh wow, I didn't even look at it like that, like, or oh wow, I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective, versus like me just kind of throwing up on you and being like, oh my God, blowing up or whatever like that. And so I think that if there is something that occurs and it makes you feel uncomfortable, talk to your partner about it. Don't accuse them of anything, but just say, hey, listen, when you're talking to that girl, like, I don't know if you noticed this, but she was definitely flirting. Like you maybe weren't flirting with her, but she was definitely like leaning in. But also, if this is an actual thing, for a man, mostly, generally speaking, be ready to give an explanation. Okay. Hold on. Be ready to explain so that he can understand. I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe you just feel it, and that's fine. Here's the thing. If he chooses you, he gonna say, all right, cool, whatever. He might not like it, but he's going to want to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So be ready to give an explanation. If you don't have nothing concrete, if you don't have nothing like, oh, the way she, I don't know, batted her eye, whatever. If you don't have none of that, just say you don't have it, and just say you feel like it. You just not like, and it's not to be like a dictator or to be, like in control or controlling. You want to do this sincerely.
Mm-hmm.
You want to approach this with like in a genuine way, not like, cause she would, no, don't watch your neck. Don't do that. Okay. Just be very calm and communicate. To Juanita's point, I share the same sentiment as far as like me, knowing that Juanita was a safe place, because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty comfortable with expressing things that are maybe considered problematic or issues. That like I have no problem with having those types of conversations. And so when I had them, Juanita expressed a willingness to want to like figure it out, even if she didn't see my perspective or even agree. There was always that willingness. And so, like we said a few episodes ago, the willingness is the biggest piece. When you're bringing up an issue, especially when it comes to like another party being involved, like a jealousy type of thing, there's got to be a willingness to find some common ground. In the example that we just gave, if the female, the lady, you see somebody flirting with your man and he just friendly, and he don't really think nothing about it and it offends you, there just needs to be willingness to work it out. If there's willingness to work it out, he's going to do whatever needs to be done to create a boundary, even if he doesn't agree, because he chooses you.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, as the guy, right? If you're on the other end and you're like, I just feel like she's way off, and y'all are not married, you have to make a decision as to like whether or not you're going to express your willingness or show your willingness. If you see a future, I would suggest that you do. If you maybe see insecurities in your partner or your potential spouse, not in that moment, but later on down the line, maybe have a conversation with it about that, regarding like, hey, is there any type of past stuff that we need to deal with that may cause you or be a driving force to help that may be a driving force to put you to the point where you think every girl that talks to me is flirting with me.
Yeah, I think it's good to do a self check-in. I think it's good to do a relationship check-in. Like, and I think that it's just important to be honest and transparent. Like,
yes, that's what I was getting ready to say. I always felt safe with Juanita. Like, that's the key. The jealousy thing is the absence of vulnerability. I was always vulnerable, I would say, with Juanita more than any other person that I've ever dealt with.
I agree. I was like, wow.
Oh, God.
Very vulnerable.
You think
so?
No,
I think I was surprised. Like, just knowing.
I never knew that.
Just knowing, like, who you are, like, in, like, some of our early conversations, like, before we started dating, like, we would just be hanging out, and you would just be very vulnerable with me. I would think it was one of the reasons why, like, I was like, I can also be safe.
Yeah, I led the way in that, I would say. Yeah.
I was surprised. I was just like, wow, like, I felt honored. Like, I was just like, I distinctly remember telling my friend, like, wow, like, he shared this with me and he shared this with me, like, and, like, it was just things in his heart, and it was just like,
now, let me also give some context for my single sisters out here. These are just indicators, okay? This ain't a green light just yet, because this was early on in our relationship. These are just indicators, okay? These are signs. It's not the green light just yet. It takes time. Yeah. Okay, so continue to move slow, but these are good signs. Vulnerability on both ends is what helps to build that trust. Yeah. I think we're good. Yeah. Anything else? So
I would just say, like, if you find you or your spouse in this situation, or your relationship in this situation, I would just say, hey, listen, like, there's nothing wrong with just having a conversation, but know that there is a healthy way And if you don't know how to have healthy conversation or healthy discourse or tough conversations, go watch our last video.
Yes.
That will give you some strategies, some tools. But yeah, man, like you can do this. We're rooting for you. And know again that jealousy is a lie. It's not something that you should be rooting for or celebrating.
And you should run.
But you should want the security of having a spouse that does have your back, right? Yes. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's more of the way in which someone expresses themselves. And I think that it's important, again, I think that we've had this common theme in most of our videos, that it's important to just do your self-work. Like, it's important to check in with yourself, right? A lot of times we get offended with our spouse when they tell us what to do and what not to do. But really, it's just because we won't check ourselves. So keep yourself accountable, right? Hold yourself accountable and allow your spouse to do so too if you guys are in that space where they can do that for you.
Yeah, I love it. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, share everywhere. If you got questions, there's a URL in the description. We would love to have y'all join the journey with us. So make sure you hit the bell so you can stay in the loop. There is a Cash App below. So any donation, we will greatly appreciate it. If it's $1, if it's $100, if it's $1 million, don't put it on Cash App. Send me an email, okay? Praise the Lord. You can wire it straight to the account. All right. I'm playing, but I'm serious. Anything else you want to share?
That's it.
All right, y'all. This is Jordan.
And this is Juanita.
And this is another episode of Love Does Cost a Thing. We'll catch you in the next one.